tribal trails. The Son of God, He's near. He chose to walk with us these tribal trails.
Welcome to Tribal Trails. We're on location in Erickson, Manitoba, and our guest today is Barb Brewster. Barb, it's good to have you with us today.
Thank you.
And looking forward to what you've got to share about how God has worked in your life.
And he's been busy.
He's been busy. Well, that's always good. We'll start, where did you come from?
I was born in Killarney, Manitoba, but have really never had roots deeply anywhere. So I was moved around quite a bit as a young child.
Oh, okay. And you're Métis?
Yeah, my mom was born in Killarney as well and adopted into a family from Killarney, Manitoba.
And your immediate family, you have a brother or a sister?
I have one older brother, 3 years older than myself.
And where were you raised?
When I mentioned that I was moved around a lot, fortunately I did have roots in Killarney. They were an extension. My grandparents remained in Killarney, so I was fortunate enough to spend summers, weekends, holidays, all of that in Killarney. Yeah, so I would definitely say that's
where you went to school?
No. I'd never spent more than 1 to 2 years in a school or a town.
Why?
I think with my mom being adopted, she was really searching. Searching for, just to belong. And so throughout my childhood, we continued that search.
You went to high school?
Yeah, I never finished high school as a graduate, but I did attend high school in Calgary. Yeah, right up to partway through grade 12. So.
How was that?
It was a good experience, but I think just with that, never having the experience of staying in one place too long, that I had some struggles through high school, so yeah.
And then after high school, where did you go?
It wasn't very long after high school till I ended up back in Manitoba. Maybe about 2 years after high school that I ended up actually back here in Erickson.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It was the first place I moved back to after I came east from Alberta.
And why did you come to Erickson?
My mom had a partner at that time who has roots here in Erickson, and they were moving back, and I needed her at that time and needed to be close to her.
So what did you do here in Erickson after you moved back?
I waitressed at the hotel. It's still on Main Street in Erickson. That was my first job here in Erickson, and not too terribly long after that, I think I was expecting my first child. And
so you were expecting your first child. Mm-hmm. Did you see God in any way in that?
I acknowledged Him. Absolutely. I acknowledged Him. But I think at that point in my life, I was still blaming Him for everything.
Okay.
So I was really only acknowledging Him when there were hurts and hard times. And the rest of the time I was thinking, as a 20-year-old young woman, you think you know, and you don't have a lot of need for guidance and direction in your life. You just think you have it made.
So you became a single mom?
No, actually, my partner at that time, I eventually did end up marrying him. It took a number of years, but my first pregnancy, I lost my son.
So what, did you blame God for that too, or how did that work?
I really questioned him. I don't know if there was a lot of anger and fury with him, but I just questioned, if you're God, how could you do this to me? Like, how could you do this to anybody, but why me? And what was this going to do in my life? Like, how would I ever get over it? So definitely had question, and as I mentioned, you know, I always acknowledged God, but early in my life it was usually only to blame. But I think that might have been a turning point when I started to question and to say, okay, why?
And what happened in your life after that, Barb?
It was just not quite 2 years later, my daughter Kira was born in January of 2001. So that was the next big thing in my life, and I had been, up until that time, searching for love, and just from the way I was raised, with my mom always searching for something, she was always searching for something more than being a mom. So I always knew that was missing. Yeah. So I knew early that I wanted to be a mom more than anything. Yeah. So when I had my baby, who was living, breathing, crying, you know, that was my experience of love. I just, it was beautiful. It was really the first time that I just knew love.
Yeah. And you were married at that time?
No,
no.
Okay, the same partner.
Same partner.
Yeah, with the man that I eventually married in 2007, after we had our second daughter, Kyla. Yes. Yeah, when Kyla was 3 years old, Dwayne and I married. So.
Okay. And you continued to stay in Erickson?
Yeah, for a short time, we had moved. Just before Kira was born, actually, Dwayne and I moved to a little town called Wawanesa, a little village, I think. I don't even think it has town status. Yes. So, just south of Brandon. Okay. And we began to raise our children there. But in 2006, he was headed out west to work. So we wanted to move a little closer where I'd have some supports, and his family was out here. So we moved back to Erickson at that time.
Try me, Lord, if you think there's a way I could ever repay all I've taken from you. Maybe, Lord, I could show someone else what I've been through myself on my way back to you. Lord, help me, Jesus, I've wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I've needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hands. Lord, help me, Jesus, I've wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I've needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hands. Jesus, my soul's in your hands.
You mentioned you came to know the Lord. Can you share about that?
Yes, the Lord placed a beautiful, beautiful woman in in my life, blessed me with her friendship and her support. My youngest daughter was born very premature. She was born by cesarean because of a placenta abruption, which caused a brain hemorrhage. And also during, for her, during childbirth, during the cesarean, she had a brain hemorrhage.
Okay.
And she also suffered a stroke immediately after being born. So through her, she spent just about 9 weeks, almost 9 weeks in hospital before she came home to us. But once she did come home to us, our family and her, she needed a lot more extra support. And that was the point that the Lord brought this beautiful woman into my life. And she was a support worker who came to assist in Kyla's medications, who came to assist in just getting daily household chores and all of that done, in helping get Kira off to nursery school, like just a support, like home care, but with a small child. So that was her job, was a support worker. But through working together, we developed a beautiful friendship. And she told me about a program, the Alpha program. Is it program? Alpha course, the Alpha course. And she suggested that we go to this course. And I immediately was quite excited about it. And then she also offered to babysit at no charge, just to come into her home. After she'd finished a day of working with my family, she came and babysat the girls so that I could attend this. And Dwayne also attended.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure whether it was 8 or so many weeks.
Yes, quite a few weeks.
Anyway, that every week she came and we went to this course, and I
Did you like it?
loved it. I just loved it. That, you know, that experience when I said I knew love, you know, when I had Kira, I was just experiencing that love in getting to know the Lord. Oh, it was just such a beautiful time in my life. So loved the course. And at the end of the Alpha course, and after so many weeks, that I was ready, and I knew years of a relationship building between me and the Lord, or questioning and dialogue and all of that was going on. I was ready, and just poured my heart out at that time. And
I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, I cannot bear these burdens alone. I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, Jesus can help me, Jesus alone.
Barb felt God's love pour out into her. In return, she wanted to pour out her love onto others. This helped her to make an important decision in her life.
So tell me about your special needs now.
okay, this
And how
This-
did it first happen?
this too goes back to before I knew the Lord, and just as my youngest daughter was born, she was still in the hospital, not well enough for me to hold. She was very, very sick. I couldn't hold her. I could sit right beside her bassinet or incubator or whatever you call them, but I couldn't hold her. But there were other babies in the nursery or the NICU that could be held, and they didn't have families visiting them. And I kind of figured out why, and questioned the nurses to see if I could volunteer to hold them and, you know, sit in a rocking chair and hold them and just love them. This love was pouring out of me, but I couldn't give it to, I could give it to her, but she couldn't feel it, and I wanted somebody to feel it. So it was against hospital policy. They couldn't allow, these babies were apprehended and were, you know, the responsibility of Child and Family Services. So against hospital policy, you would have to have your criminal record check and your child abuse and all of that thing to be recognized as somebody who could do that sort of volunteering. So I was never able to, but I made that decision then. If I ever felt secure and recovered from what I thought I was going into with Kyla's recovery, if I ever felt that I could give back, I wanted to. And I, at some point, wanted to work with especially babies coming out of a hospital. That's what I wanted to do. I made that decision then. And it was barely 2.5 years, and the Lord blessed me with my first foster child, who was a premature baby, who, you know, had spent weeks in the hospital, and at that point allowed me to go into the hospital and do what I couldn't do 2.5 years ago.
Then he said to them, "Whoever welcomes this little child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. For it is the one who is least among you all who is the greatest."
How did you get involved with Dolphin Bible Camp?
It's probably the second year that we were involved, like that I was involved with Hilltop. That I'm Kira's first year at camp, and they told me that if your child wanted to go to camp and you wanted to stay there, that you had the opportunity to work in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. That was good.
Yeah. It was good for her and for me.
And for you, yes.
I had already started my work with some special needs at that point, so I couldn't be available for the full week. So my mom went up for part of the week and I went up for part of the week. Oh, okay. So we traded off that first year. And then the second year, I made arrangements so that I could go up. And the third year, I made more accommodations. And
so how long have you been cooking for Dolphin Camp?
This is my 4th year.
It's your 4th year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
You like it?
Love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, you were just up at the camp. It is truly a beautiful, beautiful place, but it isn't just the beauty of the environment. It is, you're with God's family.
And Dolphin runs for how long?
They start their first camp usually the 2nd to 3rd week of June, and that's for special need adults. And it runs right till the 3rd weekend in September, where they do a youth retreat. So there's camp every week.
How many kids come every week?
Depending on the week, I've cooked for as little as 40 children and then 30 staff. But there's also, they can accommodate 120 children.
God sometimes uses our children's circumstances to direct us to where He wants us to minister or to serve. And He also uses these hard times to prepare us for the work that He has planned for us.
When she was 12 days old, they told us she's not going to live. And if she does, she's not going to talk. And if she talks, she's not going to walk, and so on and so on. But she does all of those things. She runs and she talks a lot. So the other 2 children, it is 3 children. It's mostly like fetal alcohol and those special needs, which are emotional and social and developmental and those things, which are absolutely special needs. But I think God prepared me with Kyla and in how she needed to access treatments and the education and the therapists and all of that I learned through her. God prepared me, and that was His plan the whole time. it was His perfect plan that through her, through the work and efforts she needed, I was going to be prepared. And I remember after coming to know the Lord, I remember saying, well, if I have to experience this, you better make it worthwhile. So, and He has. He has.
Tempted and tried, I need a great Savior, one who can bear these burdens with me. If I but ask Him, Jesus will help me make up my troubles quickly and end. I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, I cannot bear these burdens alone. I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, Jesus can help me, Jesus alone.
What burden are you carrying by yourself? Jesus can help you. Jesus said in Matthew 11:28-30, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Why not tell Jesus your pain, your struggles? He wants you to talk to Him, to come to Him, and He wants to hear from you. If you would like to talk to someone, give us a call. We would be glad to talk to you and encourage you towards the Lord. Let's continue listening to Barb as she shares with us some verses that have encouraged her.
I waited patiently for the Lord, and He inclined to me. He heard my cry. He also brought me out of a horrible pit, out of the miry clay. He set my feet upon a rock and established my steps. He has put a new song in my mouth, praise to our God. Many will see it and fear and will trust in the Lord. That really, really, really spoke to me. Another one that is really, really important to the work that God has done in my life is in Isaiah. And I was talking to you about people saying to me, how are you doing this? You know, how you're a single mom, you've lost your home, you've, special needs kids, and how are you doing this? And it was never me. And in everything I've said to you today, I do not want to boast in my works, but the Lord's. And it was absolutely, as it's Isaiah 40, verse 29, He gives power to the weak, and to those who have no might, He increases strength. And then later in the same, they shall mount up with wings like eagles. And I really have felt, like I described to you, that peace, soaring through probably the hardest year of my life. I really believe I was just soaring through it on the Lord, on His grace and His work in my life. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wings of eagles.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And He does give us strength. And I can see that in your relationship with your children.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Barb, for sharing your testimony with us. It was a blessing to me, And I know it'll be a big blessing to other people who view the program.
Rita, thank
Yes.
you. Just thank you for allowing me to share God's work. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Barb saw God's love shine through the people and the experiences God allowed in her life. And while she was searching for love, God began to show His love through her daughter Kyla, who was born with health issues. This was the one time Barb really experienced love. Then a home care worker loved her and introduced her to Jesus. Barb felt God's love pour out into her. Barb then wanted to pour out God's love to others, especially children. Maybe God is showing you His love through your experiences or through other people. Stop and take the time to look and ask yourself, how has God been pouring out His love to me? So God's love is and can be very contagious. It can easily and freely spill out to others. God wants to pour out His love to everyone, and this love is freely given to all who will receive it. Will you receive God's love through His Son, Jesus Christ? If you would like to talk to someone, or if you need assistance in knowing how to receive this free gift of love, give us a call. We will be very glad to talk to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Rise, we'll rise, rise on eagle's wings. We soar above the trees, the mountains, rivers, and the spring. Rise, we'll rise, rise on eagle's wings. We'll catch the wind and lift us up above all earthly things. Be free to fly above your worldly trouble. God gave us these wings to soar up high with one another. Freedom waits, the wind will lift the soul. Rest, believe, renew your strength, His power give you more. We must learn to wait, we must learn to rest. For when the wind it blows from heaven, Father wants to bless. A mighty bird, its wings stretched forth in flight. God will guide the journey long into the night. We'll rise, rise on eagle's wings. Soar above the trees, the mountains, rivers, and the spring. Rise, we'll rise on eagle's wings. We'll catch the wind and lift us up above all earthly things.